Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's July 8th, Wednesday, 7:15 a.m. My name is Amal. I'm going to do a Bitcoin and altcoin analysis today. All right. Lots to cover. It seems like a heck of a lot has been going on in the altcoin space. So I definitely want to cover that. Some of my top picks for today that I'm going to be discussing, Zilliqa, Tezos, Monero, Dogecoin, and a few others. So make sure you watch till the end of the video. Make sure you hit the thumbs up because I got a lot of opportunities coming up for y'all, all right? First things first, let's discuss the Bitcoin markets because obviously, Bitcoin being the pack leader in all of this, we have to see exactly how Bitcoin is positioned because it can very well impact the altcoins, okay? So for the most part, I think Bitcoin is still trapped in this descending trend line right here. I've discussed this numerous times with my Advantage members. I think some of my Advantage members took a scalp long from this July monthly open towards this trend line, so they made some good money on that. And I think now we're pretty much either waiting for a push out of this trend line right here, or for now, just follow this trend line and pretty much short it, because if you haven't broken through it, the best trade available here is to short this movement as long as you're contained within this trend line. And so if you're short Bitcoin, your stop is at least above this area. You could keep your stop above 94, 9,500. My stop is way the heck up here around $10,000. It was 10,600, but I reduced it because Bitcoin has dropped so much. So I'm reducing my risk now. But yeah, so I'm thinking still, Bitcoin is going to break down. We could see the ES, the S&P 500 futures have also broken down since yesterday. If they break down further, undoubtedly, I would probably say Bitcoin will break down. But, the question is, what exactly is going on in the alt space and why are they taking off? Well, first thing I got to mention is, a lot of credit to our community. Again, if you're not an Advantage member, we've been really crushing it with our members over here. They've been having some fantastic gains by doing some research on their own of multiple altcoins, and they have been killing it. And here's the thing, right? Altcoins are going to do what they're going to do because they're very thinly traded assets. Okay, even the exchanges themselves, it doesn't really take a whole lot of money to actually move these assets up, 30, 50, 100%, 200%, right? And so some of the favorite picks that I've kind of collected on my own by looking at charts and especially recommendations from our community is this, okay? So first things first, Tezos is a nice pick because we actually just took the underside liquidity from here. Okay, so you can see we pierced just below that, kind of caused a bit of a fake out down here and then push back up. So effectively what you've done is you've taken anyone who was long just below this area, or I'm sorry, anyone who was long this whole time in a stop below this area, you squeeze them out a little bit and then now pressured them move back up. So, Tezos is definitely one of my favorite picks. And I think even from here, at the very least, we can get towards this area. That's a 15% move if you get in. And even higher, right, from here, I'm still thinking that we can get up towards this area. So I'm thinking like somewhere around there, because you can see these are the wick rejections right there. Candles tried to close above that area, got rejected. Again, this one rejects that same marker and then sells off. So I'm pretty sure that, we can get towards this area, which is a 34, 35% gain if we get in right here. And your stop is going to be just below this marker. Okay, so that's my first big pick. Again, I'm not someone who's going to just shill 400, 500% winners. Just not really my style. I really rather go for good setups that can give me a good 20, 30, 40%, especially coins that have decent liquidity. And Tezos definitely does because it's also on Coinbase, and Coinbase provides good liquidity for me. Okay, so the other coins that I've been paying attention to are Monero. Okay, so let's take a look at Monero right here. XMR BTC, I think, is actually a really interesting setup. All right, so if you look at XMR, so let's delete this. If you look at this large range that's coming up, right? This is the large range from this key high to this key low. And we've pierced below this low multiple times. But again, now we're pressing up against this area. So what we really want to see is a clean break above this marker right here. Once you start seeing a break above this marker, and again, this is XMR BTC pair, you can at least get towards this area that's 7% gain, and you might get towards that range high, which is around 28, 29% or so, okay? But again, you gotta wait for the break above this area. So what I would do is I would just set alerts on things like this, things like XMR BTC, just set an alert, like let's just say it breaks above this area, just set an alert, and you'll get pinged by TradingView, and it'll let you know, okay, well, maybe it might be time to pull the trigger. And for your stops for XMR, I probably keep them like, just below this wick right here. So 6750 is a low, so 6700 or so, okay? So my other picks, Zilliqa, this was recommended to me by one of our members. And, I think the one great thing about having such an awesome community is none of us are greedy, right? None of us are looking to withhold information. Everyone is willing to share. So this is the advantage side of the community. If you guys are not familiar, all the locked channels that you see, and everyone you see in here loves trading altcoins. People are here from Asia and Europe, a lot of people from America, some people from Australia. So lots of information being shared, lots of people letting you know exactly what they're buying, what they're selling, what they're longing, what they're shorting. Okay, so if we look at Zilliqa, the interesting thing about Zilliqa is, so let's do a retracement on here, right? So let's go from this key low to this key high. All right, we had a solid retracement of 50%, and not only that, we actually had a pullback right into this order block right here. And not only that, we're exiting away from it. Okay, this is actually a very positive sign, especially if you close above that marker right there. If you close above that marker, more than likely you're probably going to head towards these highs. Not exactly, maybe you might find a little bit of trouble right around here, 27.22. But if you start breaking past that, Zilliqa could put in a higher high as per this swing right here, meaning it could get to 3,200, 3,500. Okay, we can even do a extension, right? So if we just throw on an extension, actually, I guess it's already on there. Let me do this. Let's do it this way. Okay, let's do it from here to here. Let's see what that extension is. Let's just say we keep pushing past this 2117 marker, right? If we push past that 2117 marker, like I said, at the very least, I'd expect Zilliqa to get to 2720. So that means from here on the way up, that's a 27% move. If we push higher, we can get way the heck up here around 1.618. Okay, that's an 82% gain. Typically, we look for 1.618 as the extension to the upside, just the same way we look for downside, retracement for the 0.618. It's the same thing, except it's in reverse because you're going from top to bottom, and now you're looking for that extension back up. Okay. So that's a couple different ways of looking at it. Again, I'm not going to tell you to go buy or sell or anything. This is just me looking at charts and finding some opportunities and telling you guys what looks good to me. Okay, so not financial advice. All right, the last one, of course, everybody and their mothers talk about Doge because it seems like even my Twitter feed was kind of filled with TikTok videos of crypto Twitter posting, how TikTok has been hyping up Dogecoin. And so, of course, when TikTok hypes up Dogecoin, they don't realize that this coin has been around for a couple of years. We've seen this movie before. We also know how things end, right? When bubbles like this pop, we also know how those end, right? So we're looking at, excuse me, Dogecoin, right? I've been watching this thing from 2015, 2016 right here. You can see my charts, and you could see right here, every time Doge has this constriction right around this trend line right here, this green trend line, it often has massive pops, okay? Since about 2017, 2018, we've kind of had a different trend line. It kind of goes something like this, okay? So, not perfect like that, but I think something like that. Okay, so it's a different trend line, and you can see we bounced off it. I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of bled down a little bit more over the next several days and then made another big pop. I do think, however, that this is a very positive sign because we've squeezed out, multiple months, actually almost a year worth of, people who are kind of buying in this area, potentially even shorting. I don't know if there's a product that you could short Dogecoin, but if there was, those people just got squeezed out because that was a key high right here in July 2019 before we dumped and traded in a range. And so when you see a wick like this, right, this could typically be a bearish SFP, meaning what happens is you get a movement above a key high like this, like a big wick. However, you close below it. Now, we don't know if this is going to close below it because we still got 4 more days until this weekly candle ends. So this is a weekly chart. But if we close up here and the next candle starts pushing up, well, that could be your potential entry. In fact, you could even enter right here, 41, but your stop is going to have to be, a good 45-ish, 45, 50% down, based on the weekly time frame. Of course, you can, go on the hourly and you could say, all right, well, maybe I'll keep my stop at 29 or 30 sats, maybe over here around 35 or something. But I wouldn't be surprised if Doge, sort of dumps further, and then potentially pushes back up. So that could be your entry where Doge goes like this, rounds out, and then starts pushing back up. Because here's the thing, right? We had all this sideways movement for multiple months. So what you want to do is you simply want to throw a fib on it, right? Remember, fibs are important because no matter what market you're in, especially if it's thinly traded markets, there's going to be algos and professionals who are watching the same levels, meaning Fibonacci levels, horizontal retracement levels, horizontal support and resistance levels, etc. And so you're bleeding past a 50 fib, you're coming towards a 618 fib, which is around 38 sats. So this could be your entry. We could push a little bit lower around the 65% retracement, which is, so let's turn that on. Oops. 0.65, that could be around like 37. Okay, so 37 right there. So 37, 38, you could potentially get into, okay? And your stop could be, let's just say, just below this wick right here, around 32. So that's not bad, because if you're going from, let's just say 37, your stop is 15% versus if you bought now and your stop is way the heck down here, that's a 37, 38% stop, okay? So this is, an area for Doge for you to look out to, right? Again, this is Doge BTC pair. Now I want to sort of dial out because I know all this sounds like something that we're all familiar with, which is how the 2017 bubble characteristics were. There was so much FOMO around. Everybody thought that they could throw their money into anything and you could make money overnight. I think that is very true. And here's the thing, right? I don't mind bubbles. Even George Soros says that whenever he sees a bubble developing, he throws, a decent amount of money in it, and he hopes and prays that the bubble gets bigger and bigger. Because in bubbles, that's where you can actually make a significant amount of money. However, George Soros also says that he knows, not to get too greedy in bubbles and when to get out and never get back in. Because once you get out, right, it's impossible, first of all, to know when you're not buying the top. Even in fact, if you're looking at Dogecoin right here, right? Say, for example, you were the sucker who bought up here at 55, or you bought at 60. Well, you don't know when this coin is going to push back up, if at all it will. Well, you're already down 25, 26%. This is the dangerous thing about bubbles. They happen in these illiquid environments, right, where there's not a whole lot of money present, and sometimes they're very volatile. You don't really know which asset is going to actually accelerate or keep going up, or when you've effectively bought the top, and you're now the sucker who's holding the bags. And I'm sure you guys remember this in 2017, 2018, because we are all familiar with what happened, right, from way the heck back here. mean, you can see Dogecoin traded as high as 400 Satoshis. I think it traded higher on some exchanges. The point is, look where you are, right? I mean, say for example, Dogecoin back in the day was moving up and up and up like this, right? And someone, say, bought here. He saw a little bit of excitement up here, and he saw, oh my God, I made 20, 30, 40% overnight, whatever. Well, he's been waiting, or he or she has been waiting for months or years for this thing to come back to break even. And now they're still down 88, 89%, right? So I think this is a dangerous part about bubbles, is that you never really know when you're buying the top. And bubbles happen within, smaller bubbles happen within larger bubbles all the time. I'm sure you guys remember that even in 2017, 2018, right? Even over here, okay, you've seen these multiple pops, okay? But again, they never reach back towards this key high or this key high back in 2014. And so the point is that you got to be careful even if you do enter, okay? You got to be careful because you never know, first of all, when you're buying the top. You'd never know, especially given the macro environment that we're in right now. Because just imagine the 2017 experiment that we had, right? When Bitcoin made it, let me pull up the Bitcoin chart, right? Bitcoin made it to 20,000 right here. Ethereum made it to 1,400. Altcoins like Neo made it to like $200. Now they're trading at 10 or 15, whatever it is. The environment back then was significantly different because we weren't in a macro environment that was already so scary and apprehensive in terms of investor fears, right? So for example, back in 2017, first of all, the macro environment of the stock market, the economy, everything was pretty great. However, what you're now dealing with is not the same kind of certainty. What you're dealing with is coronavirus fears. The stock market itself is a bubble, or some would argue it is. So there's a lot of money to be made there. There's not the same kind of inflows or excitement that is coming into crypto, right? So you're not going to get the same kind of inflows or same kind of suckers to buy the bags off you. It's the whole idea of greater fool theory. For example, if you're buying something for $1 today, you're hoping that the greater fool comes in tomorrow and pays $2 for what you paid $1 for. So unless you have that greater fool's theory in crypto, it's very hard to say that the bubble-like characteristics are going to save you. And so the point is, when we're coming into this space, you got to be careful that when you do pick up these altcoins, right, make sure that you have learned the lessons from 2017 is to not just hold on to bags perpetually thinking we're going to push higher and higher. Consistently take profits, take your winnings off the table, and don't get too greedy. And even when it comes to risk management, make sure you have stops set. Make sure you enter with the position that you're okay with losing, say, 20%, 25% overnight. Because again, that could happen just like we just witnessed in Doge. All right? Because remember, in Dogecoin, yesterday, well, not even yesterday, let's take a look at it, right? This is 9-10 hours ago. We were up here at 60, now we're at 41. So like I said, 26% down. So any person who bought yesterday up here, slept overnight, woke up, now he's down 25% on his money. It's pretty dangerous, right? So I just urge you guys to be careful in this market. And again, I think if you guys have a chance, make sure you hit the Discord link below, join our Advantage community, because our community is actively trading the altcoin market. Everybody is super involved. Everybody knows exactly what to get into, when to get in, when to cut their losses short, when to take profit, etc. Okay, so if you have an opportunity, come join our community. All right. Another interesting thing that happened was this. If you go to Crypto Panic, there's some polls about, will alt season be coming? The interesting thing about the poll results here is a lot of people, were kind of uncertain, ambiguous, 50-50. The exchange volumes, okay, for a lot of altcoins, for even the Bitcoin markets, have been at rock bottom. Okay, so what it's really done, especially for the Bitcoin market, because it's been going sideways, right? the thing that attracts traders, especially newer traders, is volatility. If you don't have volatility and you have this sideways movement, it bores people to death. Not only does it bore people to death, it makes them commit more and more mistakes. It makes them want to put on more leverage on their trades, because in tightened environments, right? So for example, if Bitcoin was moving, say, 50 or 60% in half a month or a month, well, now, over the span of 1 month, it's barely moved 10% in a very tightly coiled environment. So you need higher leverage and more money and more margin in your trade to make, significant returns. Again, this is what people think. However, what that does is it, forces you to have tighter stops. It forces you to go back and forth, commit mistakes. On top of that, people actually walk away from the crypto market and either go into stocks, play with options where they get, burnt, or they go into altcoins where they see volatility, right? Because again, it doesn't take a whole lot of money to move altcoins 10, 20, 30%. So people are piling into alts and walking away from Bitcoin. Now that creates a dangerous scenario, because what happens, as you've witnessed in 2017, 2018, is that when Bitcoin drops, like it did back here, alts drop even further. Not only do altcoins and their BTC pairs lose their Satoshi value, but then they lose their dollar value twice as hard, because you're losing BTC US dollar value, right? And then on top of that, you're losing Bitcoin, okay? Like Doge BTC, if say Bitcoin drops today from 9,300 to 8,300, that's $1,000 drop, Doge BTC will probably drop, also at least 10, 20% or something. But you've also lost, right? Your Bitcoin is now worth less from 9,300 to 8,300. So 10% less in your BTC US dollar value, and then another 10 to 20% less in your Doge BTC value. This is how traders got trapped in 2018, 2019 days. And I urge you guys to not make the same mistakes, because it is a devastating blow on your P&L when you start seeing how fast Bitcoin drops, and then how much faster altcoins drop. Okay. Another thing that I've noticed is the top tier exchanges, okay, their trading volumes have dropped almost 36% in June. You can see right here, okay? This is scary, because what you've effectively had is, less and less people being interested, which means that more and more algos or more professionals could take advantage of the illiquidity in the markets. So it's easier to drive these coins up and down, right? So you want to be careful, because here's the thing. You want to look for the broad market picture of how small caps, mid caps, large caps, and especially Bitcoin, if they're all moving together. You want a broad market rally of everything moving together. You can't have Bitcoin moving sideways and Ethereum moving sideways, yet Doge or Zilliqa or all these random coins are making 30, 40% gains. That means the gains in the market are very segmented. And that means that you are effectively having to gamble when you pick, like, let's just say an altcoin that you throw your money into. You don't really know if the whole market momentum is following it, right? Because if it was, everything would be going up. But not everything is going up. It's very select few alts that are going up. So this is where you got to be careful in knowing that you don't want to be trapped in positions, especially when the broad market picture is a bit more bleak. And as stated before, I still believe Bitcoin is going to go down further, in which case you actually may have some really good opportunities on pullbacks on these altcoins, okay? I'm in a couple of trades in some alts, some short, some long. And like I said, in the advantage side, the paid members, they are trading information of all kinds of alts, and they made some really great gains. So I hope you all come join our community, because there's a great amount of information being traded back and forth. What you need is to be able to share ideas with people who will call you out and let you know you're being dumb, taking these picks or taking these aggressive risks. Any person can be, can look like a genius when they throw their money into something that's already going up. But where you really get trapped is when you get caught with your pants down, when you're heavily sized and you don't know where to take profit, you don't know where to put your stop, and you're effectively being dragged down by the market because you didn't have a game plan. And so I think this is why, being part of our Advantage community helps, because you can talk with our members back and forth and ask exactly what they're doing or share your ideas back and forth. Okay. So I think that's pretty much it, guys. Make sure you all check out this article. Another interesting thing that I read was volumes across the entire crypto spot market, both top tier and lower tier exchanges, fell nearly 50% in June. Okay, meaning the market share of crypto derivatives has increased 5% to 37%. This, is exactly what I told y'all before, that because volume goes down, because volatility tightens up, what you effectively see is derivatives come more into place. Remember, derivatives allow more leverage, right? They allow more speculative assets to be at play, like options and perpetual futures, especially with high leverage. And so this is where a lot of people get trapped. This is why I always warn my members, never go beyond 10x leverage. If you're a new trader, don't even use leverage, okay? Don't ever use leverage unless you want to lose all your money. All right, this is, even a piece of advice that Faisal and Austin, our guest speaker, has given numerous times. So please try to protect your capital. Your first foremost goal is to actually not lose money in the markets. Then you can start talking about break even. Then you can start talking about actually making money and being profitable. Until then, just do your best to not get caught up in the hype, right? Make smart picks, look at these altcoins, make your money and get out. All right. That's pretty much it, guys. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on my video. Leave me a comment of what you're trading, what other altcoins I should be looking at. Let me know what your thoughts are on Bitcoin prices, because I've been a bear for a while. I'm pretty happy holding my short position. I've been collecting funding. It hasn't really phased me a whole lot, but I do want to know exactly what you guys are thinking. And we have some brilliant people in our community, like T-Bone here, Roland, Elizabeth right here, Siphon, our guy right here. Everybody shares awesome information. I'm really glad to be, part of this community to show people exactly, exactly how I look at the markets and how they're trading, and us sharing ideas back and forth. Okay, so come join, hit the subscribe button, come join the Discord channel. Until then, take care, cheers, and don't lose money in the markets.